The sentiment on the CRO token made a complete 180 after the news of the new crypto blue chip ETF, including also the CRO token. And honestly, it couldn't have come at a better time. So what is going on? Well guys, I would say let's strap in and let's find out. This video is sponsored by Moonlander, the leverage trading platform on the Cronos chain. Yesterday, we reported the news about the new upcoming Truth Social ETF, including the CRO token. And after that news, we did see a big spike of the CRO price, going from about 8 cents all the way up to 10 cents, so up about 25% within only a few hours. And so far, you can see it broke out of this structure, but currently it is struggling a bit with breaking the psychological 10-cent level. So really breaking that zero. But overall, the structure still seems very healthy. But this video isn't really about price, more about the sentiment, because after the news, I saw a lot of good comments. For example, this one over here. Grok, what is Cronos and where can I buy it? And many of those tweets were placed after this news. People are finding out about the CRO token after seeing, well, it's a blue chip, it's part of this Truth Social ETF, so also somewhat backed by President Trump, of course. So very interesting. People are finally recognizing what CRO really is. And you can also see that back in the statistics here. So for example, we have this tweet here by Chris, the CEO of Crypto.com. And why is Crypto.com very interesting over here? Well, the CRO token is the former Crypto.com coin. So of course, it was originally launched by Crypto.com. So I would say Chris is quite relevant in this matter. But what you can see in his tweet here that he posted is that Messari also has some data regarding mindshare. What are people talking about? And yesterday, the two big tokens were CRO and Hype. And Hype because of the Phantom Wallet integration, but CRO because of the introduction, of course, of the Truth Social ETF. And looking at the numbers, it is honestly quite crazy. Within one day, about 1% of crypto Twitter was talking about the CRO token, and that meant about a rise of about 600%, so not too shabby. And we do have more sources also that confirm this big shift. For example, here, we do have Mirko. Mirko is the lead of the Cronos Labs team, and he really runs the Cronos chain. And what he found on cookie.fun here is that also the sentiment is shifting into the good direction. So here we do see a lot of tweets now and posts online about CRO just below the XRP token and above Bitcoin. So that is actually quite interesting. So you can find more information about this on cookie.fun. And there you can see that the community sentiment is largely positive right now. And you can also find the top voices, and apparently I'm also there. So do guys check me out on X. You can find me at the Coin Baron. I do need to add though that it's not just the ETF news bringing positive vibes in the space, because also in the weeks leading up to July, the Cronos team has been working on a big upgrade for their chain, Cronos 2.0. As you can see here in this post, currently the Cronos chain is sub 1 second and also sub 1 cent, so fast and cheap for transactions. And it does help because you can take a look also at some different statistics that I posted about. So here we do have the Cronos real-time TPS chart, so transactions per second. And since we have done the upgrade, you can see the amount of transactions are also exploding. And the more transactions you make, the more CRO you need to pay for gas fees, the more CRO you need also to do any transaction really on the chain. So this is really showing that not only do we have those technical upgrades, we do have the ETF news, also we do actually see some changes regarding the use and utility of the CRO chain. And this is only a low number. If you take a look at the current real-time numbers, you can even see we spiked up all the way to about 6 transactions per second. And yeah, relatively seen to, for example, Solana, it isn't all that big. But if you take a look at the larger picture, we previously only had about 0.5 transactions per second. So about a 12x the amount of transactions is really showing the renewed interest on the Cronos chain. You can also feel that on-chain momentum with new exciting token launches on the Cronos chain. For example, by today's sponsor, Moonlander, because soon they will be launching their own FM token, the Full Moon token. And the more you trade on the platform, the more tokens you can actually buy. But of course, always do your own research. It's quite a clever mechanism though, because Moonlander is a leverage platform and they are generating quite a lot of fees. And the more fees they're generating, the more they can buy back their FM token as well. So it can actually increase in value. Check out everything in the link in the description down below. Anyways, enough about on-chain, because I also want to address a bit of negative sentiment still left within the crypto community. For example, as shown here by ZachXBET. And his argument here is that we don't have to forget that previously the CRO token had this Unburn event. So previously they burned tokens, and after a government proposal that was forced in the end by Crypto.com, they brought back 70 billion tokens back to life. So we had this whole discussion about decentralized and centralized, of course. And I would say there's a spectrum where the Cronos token and also the Cronos Chain is somewhat more focused on the centralized side. And of course, I would say this token is greatly linked to a central exchange. So it makes a lot of sense that we are in a more centralized spectrum for this Cronos Chain. But the 70 billion tokens were really divisive also for the CRO fam itself. But it does seem that this news is slowly moving to the background. Less and less people are talking about it. And the people that did talk about it are also kind of seeing that it's kind of working, because the Cronos team is working on big upgrades, and also they are still working on bringing, for example, CRO to the public with these ETFs. Of course, there will always be people, the more purist, I would say, that will not like this move. They will never forget. They will always talk about this with a bad taste in their mouth. But those are, I would say, more the Bitcoin maxis, and they would never really like a more centralized token like it is now. So I don't think, guys, people will truly forget, but it is moving, I think, into the right direction, and we're going from mainly negative into a more positive headspace. So definitely a great direction. In the end, though, price action is the real thing that moves the sentiment for the CRO token. And you can see that after yesterday's move, we did get a bit of rejection here at the 100-week for CRO. So the 100-week is basically a 2-year average. But you can see that every time we truly break above the 100-week, so for example here, and also here, then we get the big moves to the upside. But also back in 2021, you can see after going above it here and also retesting it, it went from about 20 cents all the way to about $1. So I think, guys, the true thing to follow up on is the price action. So don't forget to really hit the like button on this video and strap in by subscribing, because there will be a lot of new upcoming videos to track what the CRO token is doing. Before we end the video, though, I do want to pay some attention to Bitcoin dominance, because after testing this growth line a few times already, it seems we finally broke down. So not only Cronos is showing some strength against the Bitcoin, also Ethereum is not doing too shabby. If you take a look here at Ethereum, it is right at this line here, right at this line. And if you get a nice breakout, this could be the start of an altcoin season, like what we have seen if you take a look here at 2021, but also 2017. And I think, guys, that tokens that have a big price move in the beginning also of this altcoin season, those can get some additional attention by new retail. So very interesting, guys. Let's take a look where the CRO token and altcoins are in a few weeks. Having said that, really happy to see some new positive momentum for the CRO token. And if you missed the news about this ETF, definitely check out yesterday's video, because it is filled with some good information as well.